My name is Brittnee Becchina, and my presentation is titled Finding a Clear Vision. I want to start off by having you guys think about something. I want you to think about how many times on average do you think a college student changes their major?
Several. Daily?
There's probably several numbers running through your head, but on average it's about 3 times. I started off at Longview Community College in Lee Summit, Missouri, and when I first got there I wasn't sure on what exactly it was that I wanted to do. I considered going into music, the medical field, but I ended up getting my associates in elementary education. The summer before I started at UCM, I changed my mind on what it was that I wanted to do. I didn't want to go into education anymore. And I spent kind of all summer trying to figure out what it was, but the last week of summer I chose to go into communication studies. And I'm very happy that I did choose it. So throughout this presentation, I'm going to talk about 3 classes that really impacted me here at UCM, and I'm going to talk about where I am now and where I'm headed. One of the first classes that I took here at UCM was called Interpersonal Communication. And in this class, we first learned how to, we learned about who we were as a person. And one way that we did this was that we took the Keirsey personality profile test. And during this test, we answered several questions, and the results came back with answers about characteristics on our personality. And we had to do this first because to interact with others effectively, you have to know who you are as a person so that you can interact with others in a confident manner. Second, we learned how to interact in an interpersonal way, which this meant interacting with one or more people. And one of the assignments that we got assigned in this class was the behavior modification project. And we got to analyze a relationship, and I chose to analyze my relationship with, he was at the time my fiance, and so I wanted to look at the conflicts and miscommunications in our relationship. And I realized that Caleb and I usually dealt with conflict in a competition, and we would both try to argue until one of us won. And sometimes we would just avoid the conflict and just sweep it under the rug, and it never got resolved. But through this class, I learned that one of the best ways to solve conflict in a relationship is by collaborating. And so we were able to sit down and come up with the best solutions for our relationship rather than for ourselves. The next class that I really enjoyed was my listening class. This class was kind of sneaky, and a lot of us thought going into this class that we were good listeners, but we found out quickly that we could definitely improve. One thing that we learned in this class was how to be mindful. And being mindful means that you're conscious or aware of the situations that you're in. And one way I practiced this was with my husband, and he lives in Chicago right now, and he goes to medical school there, so a lot of the times we Skype, so our conversations consist of listening to each other rather than doing things. And so I like to give the example that a lot of the times we tell each other about our days, and since he's a medical student, he'll tell me about his day and tell me some medical terms that I don't quite understand, so I usually just zone out and I don't understand the whole conversation. So I decided one night to totally be mindful of the situation, and I ended up learning some things, and I also could tell that he was excited, and he could tell that I was engaged in the conversation. My third class that I really enjoyed was my internship. I did an internship over the summer through Casey Connections, and Casey Connections is an event planning service for Kansas City, and these were the girls in my internship. Casey Connections has several events that they host, and some of those are the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and but the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Susan G. Komen event. But I was on their Bridal KC team, and these were the 3 girls that were on my team, but I happened to not be at the bridal show. I wasn't able to make it. And I really enjoyed this internship. And a lot of what we did was call businesses, and we invited them to participate in these 2 upcoming bridal shows that we were planning over the summer. And I ended up booking about 8 vendors between the 2 shows, and these were 3 of the vendors that I booked. And this was a bridal show in August that happened, and there's another one in October that I will get to attend. So during this internship, I got to use several things that I learned in class. I got to use persuasion techniques, and I also got to use customer service and sales that I learned. This was an opportunity for me to gain networking skills also. During this internship, there were events called corporate cocktails that they hosted over the summer, and I attended probably about 3 of them, and they were usually held at restaurants on the plaza, and several different businesses would come, and we were required to go, and we got to interact with these people and talk with them, and we could exchange business cards and stuff, and just kind of see what came about from it. Okay. So, now that I have told you a little bit about my major, my vision is starting to become more clear now on what it is that I want to do. I'm going to be finishing school in this December, and I will have finished school in 3.5 years, which is pretty good. And what's next for me? Since I got married in August, I'm going to be moving to Chicago, and I'm going to start looking for a job. Even though I'm moving, I know that I'm going to take the skills that I've learned here and apply them there. So in conclusion, even though it was a last-minute decision to join the Communication Studies program, I'm very happy with the degree that I have chosen.